Gamers and gentlefolk, hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be your host, The Sound, and we are headed further back in time. We're going to be taking a look at a first week of September replay here in Division B West, with Spooky Ghosts taking on Roll1Esports in a best-of-3 series. These are two teams that have seen each other quite a few times throughout the seasons. Spooky Ghosts have been a pretty steady presence in the B West division since about Season 9. They've spent one or two seasons outside of B West, but they are familiar faces to anyone who tunes in to this division. On the other side of the battleground, Roll1Esports have spent their fair share of time in B West, spending a little bit more time wobbling between B and C. But this is the 10th meeting of these two teams across all of the seasons that they've been playing together. So they know each other well. There may be a friendly rivalry of sorts as a result. But definitely a couple of teams that know each other well. Let's head over to the battleground selection to see where we will and will not be headed throughout this series. We see Spooky Ghosts banned out Towers of Doom and Volskaya Foundry, with Roll1Esports getting rid of Alterac Pass and Braxis Holdout. So we're headed to Infernal Shrines for Game 1. A classic NGS choice. Everyone's favorite battleground. And without any further ado, let's get into game number 1 of the series. And we can introduce our teams. On the left in blue, we've got Spooky Ghosts. Little Wolf on Anduin, Eric with a K on Muradin, Boundary X on Cassia, Collidus? I'm going to go with Collidus on Sylvanas, and Rift on Deathwing. To the right in red, Roll1Esports. Rock Your World on Anubarak, Silver Spy on Sonya, Poe on Nazebo, Dr. Evil on Hanzo, and Waniba on Stukov. Checking in on our level 1 talents, we've got an auto attack Cassia with charged strikes at level 1. Surprised to see second wind, third wind for Eric with a K, given the matchups into Stukov and Hanzo. Would have expected a fourth block choice at that point. On the other side, we've got Poe opting for Widowmakers at level 1, Simple Geometry for Dr. Evil on the Hanzo. The jump stun does not connect. Dr. Evil still has their natural agility. They'll spend it there. And a little bit of a laning mismatch, giving Poe the opportunity to land some easy spider jars on the massive hitbox of Deathwing. So a fun laning arrangement. Always like to see it when teams go with non-standard choices. This is also going to give Nazebo potentially the opportunity to double soak a bit and get more Voodoo Ritual stacks. Dr. Evil has scouted to Spooky Ghosts on this camp. It's 3v4 thus far. Rock taking a lot of damage here, as is Eric with a K. The big slow from Waniba, but nonetheless, Spooky Ghosts secure the objective, get that siege camp in their favor. Level 4s on both sides. Underking, more range and damage on Burrow Charge. Interesting. Blood Ritual. Not the most common level 4, but I'm excited to see how it works in this game. Rock getting a little bit of pressure on these rotations. as far as the dismounts are concerned. I don't know what it is about Anubarak's auto attack that always looks silly to me. But for a big scarab, you would think relatively threatening creature, the auto attacks have always looked very gentle, I guess. Spooky Ghosts quite late to this objective. Looks like they may just forego it, in fact. They've committed Boundary X and Colitis with Little Wolf and the Bruiser Camp up here to top lane. We'll see how much of a push they'll get out of it. There's the Black Arrows committed, while Silver Spy works on this objective with Dr. Evil's assistance. So most of this front wall, Boundary X caught by Rock Your World here. A clean use of Leap of Faith to get the Cassia out of trouble. On the bot side, Eric with a K and Rift trying to dissuade Silver Spy from finishing off these last 5 minions, but Dr. Evil's definitely going to be able to clean this up. A stun into Fire Breath. They still have the natural agility. 35 objectives. Oh, Eric with a K. Do they have the leap? They won't need it. Silver Spy trying to find a way in here. Poe has given up on this objective, getting a fair bit of push done on the top side. And they catch Rock on the right-hand side. See pings going out all over the place. In the end, Roll1 loses a couple of heroes, a little bit of structure health on their front wall, but Poe and Certain Kind got an equalizing front wall for themselves. There's John Cena's jump. And a lot of the fort already gone. Rock Your World committing really far out for Cloydus. Leaders. There's Deathwing, so it's a full 5-hero commitment from both sides. Bot fort survives nonetheless. So a slight experience advantage for Spooky Ghosts now, thanks to their takedowns and structure experience advantages. Eric with a K is going to come threaten Waniba and Dr. Evil around this siege camp. There's the stun onto Dr. Evil. Rock eats the Chastise with Burrow Charge. And it's another 5-hero commitment. Poe free again in top lane. They'll get as much free damage on the fort as they can while the battle rages on for bot lane. Dr. Evil in a bit of a pickle there. We've got Heroics online. Dr. Evil doesn't have the agility any longer, and so they will fall. Poe has been pushing this whole time. Poe is going to get a fort. Not quite, but more than half of the fort secured. A excellent job by Roll1, taking advantage of the heavy commitment from Spooky Ghosts. As mentioned, these teams, no strangers to one another, so not surprising that they are ready for these adjustments. There's the stun onto Rock, followed up by the mind control. Looks like they're going to survive. Commits the cocoon. They're looking for Colitis. Oh, Haunting Waves into the Dragon Strike. There's the follow-up stun onto Muradin. Little Wolf tries to peel for themselves with the Light Bomb. Valkyrie does not connect. Poe with Ravenous Spirit puts a lot of damage onto Little Wolf, but it looks like Spooky Ghosts are going to stem the bleeding at 2 takedowns. So structure advantage still in favor of the blue team. Spooky Ghosts will have passive catapult pressure in their favor down in bot lane. Roll1, understanding that, do a good job to get this siege camp pushing. That's going to mitigate some of that passive lane pressure. And it looks like most heroics will be back off cooldown for this mid objective. It's a Frozen Punisher, so a lot to play for here. Eric with a K, do we see the jump stun? It looks like Poe is going to escape thanks to that mount speed. And once again, Roll1Esports on time to the objective. It didn't net them the first Punisher, but a 20 skull lead is certainly going to be a big advantage here. Eric with a K, looking for stuns. Rock Your World, once again, eating CC with the Burrow Charge. I don't know if it's intentional or coincidental, but it's coming in clutch for Roll1. And it's an easy Punisher grab. Eric with a K has to pop the Avatar. Jumps right as Leap would have stunned them, narrowly escaping. So Frozen Punisher goes over to Roll1Esports in top lane. The siege, or the Bruiser camp, was able to push through most of the fort. Dr. Evil tries to zone Spooky Ghosts off of this Frozen Punisher with the Dragon Strike, but they're able to sidestep it relatively easily. Rift taking a bunch of damage from Dr. Evil here. And it looks like Poe is going to get a little bit more damage, almost finishing off this top fort, leaving the minions behind. And who needs them when you've got spiders? We've got level 13s on both sides. Gloves of Alacrity for our Cassia, giving extended auto attack range when at full avoidance. There's also a big damage power spike for Rift. Speaking of damage power spikes, completing Widowmakers at level 1, paired with Spirit of Erekir, means that Roll1Esports has a potent damage dealer in the form of Nazebo. Next objective will be in top lane. It'll be an Arcane Punisher, and it will be advantaged for Roll1Esports pretty handily thanks to that top fort takedown. With that in mind, Foundry and Kaleidos try and apply a little bit of pressure here. They've got black arrows. Eric with a K stalling rotations as best they can, but Cassia and Sylvanas aren't going to make it out alive. At least one of them likely to fall here. Boundary X surrounded now, caught in the zombie wall as well, and so that will be it for Cassia. Eric with a K. Here's a stun chain I was not expecting, and there's the takedown on the Muradin. Oh no. Things are going from bad to worse for Spooky Ghosts. Roll1Esports could secure their second fort here, and they go on to Little Wolf behind the wall. They're looking for the takedown. A little bit of a slow reaction from the Dragon Strike means that Little Wolf makes it out to safety. They'll have another opportunity in the next 40 seconds, so almost just in time for the objective. Rift trying to soak up and close the distance to the level 16 talents. Silver Spy putting a lot of pressure onto Rift now thanks to Giant Slammer at 16. damage on both her auto attacks, Sonya's auto attacks, and her slams. There's the leap in. Dwarf launch connects with the light bomb. Eric with a K pops the avatar as well. Rock looking for a return kill. There's the leap in from Silver Spy. Eric with a K tries to get onto Waniba. Little Wolf in full retreat with Silver Spy on their tail. On the top side, Eric with a K dealing with the rest of Roll1. There's the pull back in. Silver Spy down below 100. They get the mount. One more auto attack and that'll do it. Dr. Evil pulls the trigger. Boundary X falling low. There's the silence and fear. Eric with a K doesn't want to give up on this chase. The objective has been available for channel. I don't believe they've got their dwarf toss. They do have their avatar. Man, lots of back and forth in these fights, chasing deep into the jungle. And with that, Roll1Esports will once again get the first crack at the objective. We'll see how much of an advantage they can secure before Spooky Ghosts makes the rotation. Rift, all the way in bot lane, isn't going to be able to join this fight anytime soon. Boundary X, well far ahead of the team. The Cocoon onto the Muradin there. And here comes the Deathwing. All right, still over halfway for Roll1. They're playing it really safely here. Not going too hard for the objective. Lots of damage from Rift, but the leap finds Cassia. Little Diablo PvP action. And we lose Cassia. Of course, they've traded out one of their frontliners, Silver Spy, in a fair bit of trouble here. The damage reduction, or the damage amplification from the armor reduction. Rift, oh, narrowly escapes. Looks like they're going to be able to survive, but they only need to pick up 8, make it 7 Shrine Skulls. It's not a lot. And explosive arrows from Hanzo, one of the better talents for stealing away minions. It's another 2, make it another 3. They're only 4 away now. Another 2 connected, and that's it. The damage over time from the poison. Colitis, they're in a tough spot. Okay, they get the Haunting Wave out. Well done. Bot Wave is heavily in Spooky Ghost's favor. So Sonya's going to have to respond to that. That's going to give a 5v4 opportunity for Roll1. I'm sorry, for Spooky Ghosts against Roll1. Boundary X the target once again. There's the Leap of Faith from Little Wolf. The jump lands onto Colitis. Roll1 sticks around for this camp steal, thinking better of it. They will back out. But Boundary X, hot on their tails. Cassia spending a little bit of time ahead of Muradin in a couple of these rotations. Eric with a K looking for Silver Spy. The rotation just a little too late. We're about 20 stacks off of the Vile Infection for Nazebo as we round the level 20 talent tier. Next objective, once again, in favor of Roll1, thanks to their fort in mid lane. And that's level 20. Ariat's Crater, one good spread, rewind, pop off, not one good spread. Double Dragons Forever, aka the Dragon Awakens. Oh no, Rift! In the Ariat's Crater. Poe, sparing their blushes, aren't going to pick the level 20 until they know that they've got the stacks available. They'll be able to pick them up very safely in bot lane. With Spooky Ghosts represented heavily on the top side of the battleground, Roll1 does not waste any time jumping onto the bot fort. They're going to get a full HP fort in exchange for a very damaged top fort. Those are the Vial Infection stacks complete. And Roll1 keeps pushing. They're through the keep tower. One more auto attack from Roll1 might do it. Man, that chunky auto attack. Okay, so all outer structures missing on the left-hand side of the battleground. We've got talent tier parity. Titan's Revenge, ignoring armor, that's going to be a helpful tool into both Anubarak and the biotic armor of Stukov. He went one good spread. I don't know anything about talents or builds. Dark Lady's Call from Colitis. So we could see a little bit more of a fishing attempt. Eric with a K dodges the burrow charge. It feels a little bit like who engages onto whom first. There's the stuns, this time onto Rock Your World. Rock manages to get their shield off, and Rift is the first to fall in the engagement. Cassia does not connect with the Valkyrie. Boundary X getting chased down by these spiders. Silver Spy in range for the final spear. Eric with a K makes the save. Will these spiders kill a Muradin? They will not. So 1 for 1 once again, but as has been the case time and time again with these even trades, Roll1Esports have had the positional advantage when all is said and done. Stun onto Silver Spy. Oh, a narrow miss on the Dark Lady's Call. So Sonya's going to live to fight another day. She's got Leap back up thanks to Ariat's Crater. The cooldown reduction is huge. There's the silence, but Little Wolf's in range with the pull. They still have one more Leap of Faith thanks to their level 16 glyph. But this could be all she wrote for game 1. Frozen Punisher, very potent. There's the zoning potential from Dr. Evil that cannot be discounted. Dr. World taking the long walk from spawn. And with that in mind, Roll1 are going to transition to the top keep instead. Offlane Anubarak, everyone's favorite task. I would assume. I'm not a Anubarak player, but I can't imagine that that feels like much fun. Spooky Ghosts just hunting for Roll1. Roll1 playing on the bot side of the battleground. Safe as you please. And with the Siege Camp and Catapult in mid lane, Spooky Ghosts are going to have to respond. They send Rift back along with Little Wolf. The rest of the squad walking to the Bruiser camp. And Roll1 kind of begging a response. daring Spooky Ghosts to stay off the map a little bit longer. They're going to lose a keep for it if they're not careful. Eric jumps, finds 2 with the stun. Do they have the rewind? Rewind a little bit late. Boundary X caught by every stun inside the Dragon Strike. Eric with a K jumps out to safety. Kaleidos caught in the cocoon. Poe getting a lot of damage there. Kaleidos finds Stukov with the Dark Lady's Call. Eric with a K narrowly misses the Stormbolt, and in the end, Roll1 with that positioning advantage ends up getting the final structure. Lane pressure is the name of the game for Roll1 at this point. They can play very slowly. Choose to defend their mid fort if they choose. Choose if they choose, don't you know? Very safe rotations. How many stacks on Voodoo Ritual are we at? 198? That's a fair bit of HP. The rotation to top lane is going to expedite how those catapults push, but it does mean that Roll1 are in a little bit of an awkward position. Oh, they engage onto Eric with a K. They drop the rewind everything onto Muradin, and nonetheless he survives. Oh, but Little Wolf caught in a rough spot. The Widowmakers are going to seal the deal. Little Wolf falling. Boundary X in a lot of trouble here. Rock Your World finds the stuns over the wall to follow up on Silver Spy's spear. Roll1 aren't going to bother with the objective. They've managed the takedowns they need. And with a late game Nazebo, great ice block timing, dude. Oh, what a gamer. Big silence onto Eric with a K. They leap out to safety. There's the leap onto Eric with a K. Once again, gets the stun. Third wind. Oh, it's not enough. We're worried about KDA. It's all about pride now. The catapults can hit the core. We're going to hit heroes. Rift, can you escape? Oh, 83 HP in a dream. So there you have it. Game 1 goes in favor of Roll1. GG and well played to the red team. Some really heads-up rotations and pushes when Spooky Ghosts represented themselves too heavily across the map. And winning most Punishers doesn't hurt your chances of winning. Let's take a look at our post-game stats. Rift on Deathwing, top of the team, but Dr. Evil on Hanzo coming in with 87,000 hero damage. Head and shoulders above the rest of the lobby. Anything else of note? Stats are stats. I'm never that excited by stats, truth told. The builds, nothing crazy here. A lot of value for Poe getting those Widowmakers stacked up and applying that extra structure damage to top fort in the early game. Pierce at 16 for Dr. Evil. I think it's a natural pairing with Dragon Strike. And yeah, I like the Ariat's Crater. Silver Spy didn't have much in the way of survivability talents, but the Ariat's Crater adds additional threat to both Cassia and Deathwing. So, excellent choice there at 20. And a clean game 1 for Roll1Esports. We can update our scorecard here. Give a little bit of love there and see where we're headed for game number 2. Dragonshire for game 2. Very exciting. One of my favorite battlegrounds, hands down. I love the macro demands of the map. It is not as straightforward as objective spawns, let's all go there. So being able to control at least one lane at a time makes a huge difference. Alrighty. That will set us up. We'll see if Spooky Ghosts can take us to a game 3, or if Rock Your World and Friends close it out in a 2-0. Introducing our teams again, we've got Spooky Ghosts on the left, Little Wolf on Rhaegar, Rift on Falstad, Kalidas on Kael'thas, Boundary X on Maiev, and Eric with a K on Diablo. So a ranged offlaner for Roll1. I'm sorry, for Spooky Ghosts. Roll1 with Rock on Anubarak once again, Zad on Hogger, Poe on Chromie, Dr. Evil on Hanzo, and Waniba on Tyrande. It's not a triple ranged composition technically, because Boundary X is technically a melee assassin. But it is a triple backline comp. Boundary X gets a big tether there. Rock Your World caught under towers, and Eric with a K, beautiful body blocks, will secure first blood for Spooky Ghosts. We'll see how Rift fares against Zad. It's a lot of damage from Falstad. A couple more auto attacks might do it. Not yet, but as that level 1 frequent flyer continues to stack up, we could see a lot of pressure applied to Hogger. Of course, once again, the downside to the ranged offlaner compared to your more traditional ones is that Zad is going to be able to heal up thanks to both the Loot Horde trait and the level 1 passive, whereas Rift will not be able to heal up until at least level 4. Boundary X and Little Wolf getting busy on the Bruiser camp here. Gives Roll1 the opportunity to secure the bottom shrine. Rift in a lot of trouble. They do have the barrel roll, but it means that they won't be able to use it for escape. Unless it's back off cooldown. I feel like it's a pretty long cooldown. Alright, Rift's going to make it out. They got spotted by the level 1 Time Walker's Pursuit from Chromie, and Roll1 heavily representing on the top side of the map. Oh, Rift just barely escapes. A little bit of a miscommunication between Zad and Rock, it looks like. And that's going to give Spooky Ghosts the opportunity to get another Bruiser camp, this time on the bot side. Rift able to hearth and fly back to lane. They've got a little bit of sustain for themselves now, thanks to hammer gains. Boundary X gets the tether onto 2. There's the pull onto Dr. Evil. Rock Your World still quite healthy. Little bit of an experience advantage for Spooky Ghosts here. You can see that's thanks to that takedown and the mercenaries. There's the engagement onto Boundary X. Rock Your World has no escape at this point. There's the tether. Are they able to set up the body blocks? It looks like Kalidas can land one more stun, but Boundary X deep under towers. They've bitten off a little bit more than they can chew, so Roll1 find their first takedown, equalizing 1-1. Rift up top will take care of the objective, so no Dragon Knight just yet. Waniba and Poe continuing to bother Eric with a K here, interrupting the hearth time and time again. Oh, a big chunk of damage there as well from the level 7 Mobius Loop for Chromie. Diablo just wants to go home. Oh, eats so much damage from Poe once again. Does Boundary X get a tether here? Colitis scattered out with the Sentinel. And on the top side, Roll1 were able to get bruisers pushing in their favor. Eric with a K walking through every bit of damage once again, just cannot catch a break. On the top side, Zad trying to interrupt Rift. Dr. Evil gets the rotation in. One more auto attack might do it. Little Wolf is in range for the heal. We opt for Boomerang? Yeah, Boomerang. I think Boomerang, if you're going to play offlane Falstad, is kind of a must. The wave clear it brings, very important. We've got objective channel on both sides. Colitis pushes Poe off of the objective. But top lane is starting to suffer. Rift only has half of a fort to work with here. Level 10's just around the corner, and Roll1 picks them up. We've got Cocoon once again. Slowing Sands. Rock Your World gets the Cocoon onto Diablo. Colitis caught the Dragon Strike just for good measure. But now, under towers, Rock taking a lot of damage. Both altars channeled in favor of the red team. And it looks like they will secure their first Dragon Knight of the game, with Rock Your World making the rotation to mid lane. Does Eric with a K get an engagement while the tank is missing? It doesn't look like it. Gonna have to Shadow Charge to a minion for safety, and draws the Ancestral Healing from Little Wolf as well. Zad continues to whittle away at top fort. Boundary X and Colitis rotating to match the Dragon Knight here. Another round of damage and stuns onto Eric with a K. Dr. Evil pulled in, but no follow-up damage. On the top side, looks like Hortapult had to be committed for safety. We'll see if that means that Rift flies back in. A Gust was used as well. Okay. All sorts of things going on in the 1v1 up top. It's an early Dragon Knight, so Spooky Ghosts didn't end up eating too much damage for it. Top fort, once again, under siege from the minions. 135 HP left. What a big bummer. Okay, Little Wolf on the point, in a lot of trouble. Top fort goes down. Boundary X looking for more. The Spell Shield goes over in favor of Spooky Ghosts, and so they'll clean up the takedowns as well. Eric with a K finds Waniba and gets the flip. Saved with the Ancestral. A couple more auto attacks might do it, but they're not going to get the opportunity. So it looks like Spooky Ghosts with that teamfight win are going to be able to even out the structure deficit. Top fort traded for bot. Missing either side lane fort makes it very challenging. Oh, Little Wolf, what are you doing, bud? Oh, what a greedy back. Is it going to cost them? Will they pay the iron price? Rift has Gust. Going to have to use it. It's going to cost them the Gust. Eric with a K, interrupted once again. There's the Hortipult in from Zad. And there's the Dragon's Arrow. Little Wolf caught in it with the Slowing Sands as well. A double takedown for Roll1. Souls for Diablo. So he's back online. But the Black Soul Stone is going to have to get stacked back up. There's a Bruiser camp pushing in top lane, by the way. Oh, Rock overcommitting with the Burrow Charge. And so Roll1 will lose their front line. Foundry X getting a fair bit of damage there with the Fan of Knives. But they haven't opted for pin down, so it's not going to be too much damage. Elun's Wrath, still a fair bit of consistent pressure. Speaking of pressure, Rift has to deal with this top lane. The Catapult has already gotten through the keep wall. Spooky Ghosts would love to find someone out of rotation, but Roll1 have been very cautious with their vision play and rotations, as we see Rock demonstrate that caution, Burrow charging away from lane once Spooky Ghosts show. Could Rift be the target? Looks like Zad and Rock both make it out to safety. On the bot side, Dr. Evil and Poe secure the objective and push out the lane, alleviating some of that passive catapult pressure. Zad has retaken top. And the ring around the rosy is not going to be good for Spooky Ghosts. Rift survives, had to use the Gust. Both teams doing an excellent job of playing hide and seek at this point. Poe and Dr. Evil a little bit isolated down here in bot lane. Eric with a K still on mount. They're going to walk through the time trap, so they see Diablo at this point. Level 16s on both sides now. Oh, Poe caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. They're going to buy a little bit of time with timeout, but that is a dead Chromie. I love this rotation from Roll1. Spooky Ghosts get the takedown and the bot Bruiser camp, but Roll1 is able to get a little something of their own with this top Bruiser camp. We'll see if Spooky Ghosts can catch them on this rotation. There's the fly in from Rift as well. Rock Your World still has Burrow Charge. There's the tether. No one's following up Boundary X. They're kind of alone. They're looking for Zad and Waniba. They get the kill on Rock nonetheless. Topkeep is taking damage from the Bruiser and minions. Top lane, very difficult to win the game through, but having a keep missing any lane is always challenging. Lots of damage. Dr. Evil gets the full... Oh, Zad, do they have the headbanger? They don't. Staggering Blow is the ability, and Headbanger is the 16 talent. We find Zad, who still has the Hog Wild, and there we have the first objective for Spooky Ghosts. They've got a little bit of an experience lead towards the Storm talent tier here. Getting through this mid fort would be a big help for them. Another big reveal from Time Walker's Pursuit. Eric with a K immediately onto Roll1E. What a great engage from the Diablo. Have they taken too much damage on the side here? It looks like they have. Even so, worth the spend of those souls. No healer for Roll1 at this point. The fort lives. That's kind of a bummer. Foundry X already used the Vault of the Wardens. Eric with a K back in action, doesn't get the wall bang. There's the flip onto Rock Your World. Rift tried to gust for the save, and so it will not be available at this point. Spooky Ghosts just need to clean up a few more waves, and they'll have Storm talents online. Roll1 on the other side, gonna have to play very cautiously here. They'll get the Bruiser camp, but they're going to have to turtle up down the important level 20 talent tier. This will be an easy cleanup on mid-keep, I would think. Poe opting for Piercing Sands at 20. 18 technically, but... I would love to see Spooky Ghosts support their siege camp here. Flamethrower from Colloidus means that they're able to apply pressure at a much safer distance. Rift Hearth's back to deal with Zad and this Bruiser camp. They still have Fly available. Little Wolf rotated in vision, I'm pretty sure. So Zad's gonna know. Keep falls nonetheless. Ooh, even with the rotation from Rift. That's a tough one. And with the heavy representation in top lane, Roll1 is gonna find another opportunity to use the Anubarak Beetles. Oh, Little Wolf! Stunned for too long. Zad secures the takedown on the healer. That is a tough draw for Spooky Ghosts. Well played by the red team. I imagine that'll give them a relatively easy pickup on this Dragon Knight. And I expect them to go through mid-fort towards bot keep. They do have a path to the core open already, but it would be pretty weird to try and end through top. Top is notoriously treacherous for the attacking team. So a very passive Dragon Knight usage here. Trying to get maximum uptime, not running through the HP before the timer runs out. Something that I think we could all take note and draw a lesson from. All right, full 5v5 once again. We've got a siege camp and a catapult. Rift wants to make this rotation in for the Gust. Boundary X taking so much damage. They walk into the Dragon's Breath. They're cut off, and so that's a double takedown. Rift, the Gust comes in, but once again, Zad over the wall gets another takedown, and they escape to tell the tale. Oh no. Things have gone from bad to worse. It's 4 heroes taken down, and the core is already open. Beetles and Time Traps will pave the way for Roll1 to get onto Spooky Ghost's core. Rift already committed the Gust, so they're not going to be able to stall this out. I don't think a solo Falstad is going to make the save here, and so it's going to be a 2-0 in favor of Roll1Esports. Spooky Ghosts just a little too passive in some of these mid-game moments. GG and well played for Roll1. Very clean play. An excellent job dodging the rotations from Spooky Ghosts. Spooky Ghosts needed to be a little bit more aggressive in their rotations. It's tricky with all the vision tools that Roll1 had, but without those aggressive chances and looks, it gave Roll1 the opportunity to equalize the talent tier and turn the game around. Take a look at our build. What a disgusting transition. Sorry, friends. We'll go back here. And then go to here. Excellent. 53 stacks on Frequent Flyer for Falstad. That's a lot of damage, but in the end, it wasn't easy for Spooky Ghosts to apply their damage because of their relatively squishy composition. Maev, though a frontliner, does not replace a second meaty health pool too terribly well. Let's see what we've got for stats. Makes sense to me. Rift had the opportunity to hit Zad all game, so top of the lobby, or top of their team. Of course, Dr. Evil, top of the lobby. Once again, head and shoulders above the rest of everyone. And it really did come down to that early top lane pressure. Rift on Falstad, always under pressure from the ganks. So there is a downside to the ranged offlaner, as we've learned across a couple different series throughout today. That's going to be... Oh, wait, I didn't update the scoreboard. Feels so silly. There you go. 2-0 for Roll1. And that's going to do it for this series as well as the stream. I appreciate everyone who tuned in. I'll also give a huge shout out to Spooky Ghosts and Roll1 for an excellent series. What is their lifetime head-to-head? We know that that was their 10th meeting, but how many... how do I find that? I would go here. Thank you for bearing with me, everyone. I think this is going to be a fun little fact, don't you? So, lifetime Spooky Ghosts still have the edge. Is that accurate? Yes, 6 match wins. To Roll1Esports, 4 match wins. But that's got to feel good for Roll1 to secure the domination very cleanly as well. Until next time... Wait, I didn't give everyone the credits. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks to NGS for putting on a great league that we can participate in. And last but not least, thank you to all of the artists, programmers, and musicians whose work I feature here on the stream. It wouldn't look or sound as good without their contributions. You can find links to all of their work below or coming up in a credit roll after I sign off. Please do go check out their work. It's all open source or Creative Commons licensed material. So if you've heard or seen anything that you like, it could be in your next project as well. Until next time, friends, good luck and have fun out there. Peace and love.